I'm Todd Pilger. I'm the Vice President of Finance for Mulaney Healthcare of New Mexico, and I am here to talk about conflict resolution. I had a situation, I've been in this position for about 5.5 years now, and when I first came in, I've been with the company for a long time before that, and so I'd moved up through the ranks. And I was dealing with a situation where my previous boss, she was a great boss for the people who worked for her. If you were on her team, she would go to the mat, she'd go to the ends of the earth. Unfortunately, sometimes going to the ends of the earth would mean going and burning bridges with everybody else, because she would support our people, but if somebody else got in her way, then it was terrible. So coming into that position, my people were well set. We had a lot of good processes and a good team, but we were kind of a team alone. We had a lot of conflicts with other departments. The primary thing that I had to do, my team actually jokingly calls it Chapstick Diplomacy, and that is dealing with other departments and dealing with other people that you may have a difference of opinion, a difference of style, some real conflict that you do have to deal with. But what I helped that team realize is that you have to really focus on the fact that the other person is still a human being. They still have their own issues, their own needs, their own feelings. And that even if you have those differences, if that person is within our company in particular, then we all ultimately should be wanting to get to the same goals. And so you have to recognize that you don't have to necessarily win if it means the other person loses and it turns into a net loss for the company. And so really getting my folks to understand that you don't have to be triumphant in every situation. And sometimes that chapstick diplomacy is you kind of got to kiss up to that person. If that's going to make them more comfortable, make them back down, and then ultimately result in a situation where you can move forward together and work ultimately for the success of the company. And that's going to be the resolution that you're looking for in the long term. And sometimes you just have to, there's times where it may be bad enough that person is going to be hurting the company, so you just have to work with them long enough so that they can be gone. That's even in those situations, if you turn it into a big fight, it's going to go worse than if you're able to just manage through the situation. And we even had some areas where things were terrible, and by working together and working closely with these other people, finding out how to work with them and ultimately training them on how to work with us to get the information that they needed, and it turned into some situations where it was actually very successful. Some of the specifics that we dealt with primarily came with interacting with our government programs leadership. The director of government programs, we work in a situation where we work with the government. All of our contracts are with the government because we're working Medicaid insurance. And we had situations where we wouldn't even talk to the person that was the head of government programs, and then suddenly we'd have these frustrations because we would feel like we wouldn't know what's going on in our government regulation, but if we wouldn't talk to her about what she needed, then there was no reason for her to talk to us. And it was very derogatory. She was small in stature and very intense in personality, so lots of nicknames, the Chihuahua, the little terrier, and that was dehumanizing to her. And so to really recognize, yes, we understand that she does have some of those personality traits, but also some of us are dog people. Sometimes a Chihuahua can be cute, so just deal with it and work with it and feed that Chihuahua what that Chihuahua needs until she turns into a human being and you can really deal with the situation. What I would recommend that you do is look into your own company and see who has conflicting maybe conflicting interests, or at least conflicting personalities, and figure out how can you merge those two together to help them recognize what the other side is seeing, and then go from there and see what are the similarities that they're really trying to achieve, and focus on those and take them in the right direction. Sometimes it's you have the natural enemies typically between accounting and sales. because sales is often going to say, oh, well, we may be losing money on every single one, but we'll just sell more. And it's like, help them understand how the economies go out, but also understand that they've got certain goals and certain targets, and give them the information that they need. So if there is something that they can sell that isn't going to lose money on each one, then they can sell more of those. It's a matter of communicating and trying to figure out what those two sides are going to match up, and each company is going to have something a little different on who those people are going to be. So for some last words, I mean, my last boss, she was very good for her people, but kind of the ego and the goal to succeed could get out of line, and I think even if your boss is that way, and particularly if you're on the good side, take the time and not just enjoy, all right, I'm on the good side. Find ways to upward manage, even to help them recognize how to drive things, because the higher you get in the organization, the higher the level that boss is, the more it'll permeate through the entire organization. So really help to focus on that.